You ready? Good, because you're going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Welcome back, everybody. It's awesome to have everybody back. We're running a little later today than we normally would. That's TR ran out of town for the weekend.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
So hey Tiara,
Hey.
how are you?
Not so bad.
Oh, good.
How are you?
Well, could use some chicken tenders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to share with us about your weekend? All things you did while you were gone? Anything interesting?
Yeah. Hannah Gatsby is just as funny as she was the first time I saw her, like a million years ago in Seattle. I yeah, that's the gist of my weekend. Is I went back to Seattle, went dancing with some friends, went out on a boat on Lake Union and drank wine.
On a boat.
Went and saw Hannah Gatsby and then hopped on a train this morning back home here.
Beautiful.
So I'm exhausted, actually.
Well, I'm very happy that you're home, as you already know.
Yes.
So if you want to find us in places, you can go to Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr. We're all at How Are You Now Pod. You can email us if you'd like at host@howareyounowpod.com or howareyounowpod@gmail.com. We also have a phone number where you can leave us voicemails with any questions or comments you may have, or TR's favorite thing, dad jokes. That phone number is 30450 FERDA. And if you are unaware, we are part of the Podscure Podcast Network. That's a bit of a tongue twister. So please go check out all of our shows that we've got going over at podscure.com. Now, I want to do a special shout out / request for one of our shows, Disputed Podcast. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what we do over at Disputed, in a nutshell, we have a spirited, informal debates between, including a little smack talk as well, between fictional characters. We have folks come on and advocate for each side, and we stream it live on YouTube and a couple other places, on Twitter as well. And I think we're on Twitch as well. After each episode, we ask the audience to vote. We currently are doing a scrappers bracket, a whole tournament. We have 16 scrappers, so people, fighters, including Wayne. Mm-hmm. He will be one. He's going to be one of the last ones to go in to fight in the first round.
Right.
So he's coming up. But anyway, our most recent disputed episode is between Ting from Ong Bak versus Beatrix Kiddo, a.k.a. the Bride, from Kill Bill. So I'm asking right now for votes. Just go out there, watch the dispute part of that. You don't even have to watch the intros or anything like that. Just watch the dispute, the actual debate part. And then once you've decided who you like, go out and vote. You can vote there on the same page, disputedpod.com/Ting v Kiddo, TINGVKIDDO, and select who won. And after you select, there's pictures of both of them on there. You click one, down at the bottom is a vote button. You click that vote button and the vote will go through.
Yes, 2 steps.
2 steps.
If you did not click both the person and the vote now, you're not voting. And
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah, that has happened. So sometimes you got to explain.
Yes.
You got to fill out your ballot and then put it in the box. Is
Yes,
basically what
exactly.
it is. So, and last but not least, our show music is done by some fine folks over at Light the Lamp. Great hockey punk group. Please go check them out in all the places. Bandcamp. They're on the Spotify's and the other places where you can find music. They're awesome. Great guys out of Pennsylvania, and we love them. So they've been with us from early on with How Are You Now? So really great guys. Anything else you'd like to bring up, TR, before we introduce our guest?
Well, there's one little thing that I would like to bring up. Something I've been noticing on Twitter lately is we have a lot of new people, both our podcast and our brothers and sisters over at Produce Stand.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people not understanding, the long-term humor that's been happening between everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking offense to it, basically. I've seen this happen a lot. There was a big dust up with somebody just yesterday that just kept going, which was really actually anyway. But just like think about it for a second. If you are offended by something somebody says on Twitter, maybe just don't say anything. And when I say offended by, I don't mean like if someone's being racist or homophobic or something like that, call their assholes out. Like that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, you ask a question of somebody, that person asks somebody else who knows the answer what the answer is. When that person answers, don't get mad for being corrected for your incorrect assumptions in the beginning. And I know that sounds so stupid, but it's literally happening over and over and over again. Just like, remember that we all love this show. And if you actually are paying attention, you're
Yeah.
don't be a degen, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Shoresy and the boys in the locker room all chirping at each other. It's like they're siblings. We are our siblings in this community. I don't want to just say it's a fandom. It's we've grown to be a community of folks. I mean, us and Produce Stand and lots of other folks. I mean, if you check out who all has been on our live table reads,
right.
We just put one out.
That was so much fun.
Yeah,
That's
and
right. We didn't promote that too.
No, not too much, but I mean, people love Letterkenny. We're gonna have a lot more Letterkenny friends than disputed fans, but that's okay. But yeah. We're a community, and just like that, you see where we have a number of podcasters. The dog is being a degen right now. And we're a community of podcasters and content creators and such, where we know this is a show that we all love. We're not in competition with each other. We are friends. We share space with each other. We come in each other's spaces and talk.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Jesus Christ.
I gotcha. We come to where you're at, guys, and because we'll bring it to where you're to. Anywho's, I think Awesome has joined the club.
Hi,
here.
Awesome. I know that you know
We're
exactly
not,
what I was
and
referencing.
we are not calling anybody out.
No,
but
there's no one in particular. But there was a big one the other day that I just was like, I've seen this way too many times, and I need to say something because come on.
Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for joining us, Awesome. But we'd also like to have our guests join us, unless there's anything else you'd like to bring up.
Nah, let's do it.
All right, well, let's do this. So, our guest this week is my cousint-in-law, Chris Churchman. So, yeah,
Howdy.
Chris, how are you?
Not so bad.
It's weird to like go.
You want to say
there. It's almost
you want to say how are you now? So hey, Chris.
How are you now?
Oh yeah, I'm all right. So
Good on you.
Just
go see if goes on. Oh man, so it's great having you back. It's been since season 2? Yeah, it's been.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
You were one of our first
one of our early
first
guests.
I believe they call that the OG.
Oh yeah. You were listening to our podcast before anybody even knew there was a podcast.
I even made, I think, a TikTok. Someone goes and they ask you like, "What's the one thing you're a hipster about?" And I'm like, Letterkenny.
Yeah.
I love Letterkenny before it was a show. It was a YouTube skit.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, that's my hipster moment.
Yep.
That it was. Yep. So what you got going on? Anything you'd like to plug?
Plug, not really. I guess
All right.
Instagram, Amazing Spider Chris.
All right.
Amazing_Spider Chris.
All right.
And then that's all I really got going on. Mostly for me, it's just work and school.
All right. Well, so without going into really any detail, so this is the first season of Shoresy, and I know we all had a lot of feelings going into it about what that would be, and what it would feel like in a lot of trepidation. But now that you've watched it all, what's your general feeling about it?
I think it's exceeded my expectations. Because Letterkenny, I felt is more of kind of like a Simpsons kind of show, where it's kind of like a show about a whole community, where Shoresy is kind of this focused in on this character, this storyline, where Letterkenny you have the farmers, the skids, the hockey players, you got the Amish,
The Mennonites.
but here,
the Nappers.
The Mennonites, that's right.
And fuck can they run?
But this one is just about this one character and a hockey storyline, which as a hockey player, I am all for. But I mean, Shoresy was kind of one of the most one-dimensional characters in Letterkenny.
Mm-hmm.
And now at the end of the season, without getting ahead, like he's a full fleshed out character. And I'm like, there's a story. Like I want to see season 2.
Right?
Definitely.
And it's like, okay.
And it has been announced.
Yeah. Has it?
By Crave.
So not in the US yet.
Hey, tell me if I'm wrong, Awesome. But it was announced by Crave that they're doing a season 2, or they announced, or was it Letterkenny season 12?
Well, Letterkenny 12 was.
That's what I'm.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, my bad. So
I think this has got to get a season 2.
Oh yeah. I'm just hoping because
Crave said it was the highest rated. What do you call it? Debut that they've ever had.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. It's just a matter of like so many details. And then in the US it'll be like months later before we find out that we're gonna get it 2 days later or something like that.
Yeah. You have a fully fleshed out character. You take a one-dimensional character who it was funny in its own right. He had his shtick and he nailed it every time you saw it. You never failed to laugh. But now you take that stick and you build around it. And you're like, okay, you've got a hockey player who loves the game. You get inside a hockey locker room with the other players and the other teammates. You basically bring these characters in off the street, and they each have their quirks, just kind of like Letterkenny, and you're building this other community within the hockey world. And I know any person playing hockey, close to hockey, is like, yes, this feels real.
Yeah.
So
nice.
They did a wonderful job. And Jared Kiso, I mean,
the man is brilliant.
Like you go from Wayne to Shoresy, and basically opposite ends of the spectrum, there.
They feel like such different characters. When he embodies both of them perfectly. He does. I mean, there's
and neither of them are him.
Yeah.
Neither of those characters are him in real life.
Because Kiso is a very genuine, sweet,
laid back, funny, kind.
very huggable,
very huggable.
It's literally like the way he carries himself, obviously the way he talks, the haircut, the mullet is
the mullet,
chef's kiss. But it's just he embodies both those characters, and that's how you can tell the range of a good actor is if like someone's just doing variations of a stick, but Jared Kiso has gone to the opposite ends of his range, and there's a lot more into him. Like I'm going to be watching this guy's career.
I hope, and because I know he's said it a lot that he's done with Hollywood.
Yes.
And I keep seeing it every fucking time they try to get him to be fucking Wolverine. I'm like, just fucking drop it, guys. It's not going to happen
unless it's made in Vancouver by people who
here's how it would have to be like Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
He would have to have full creative control over the entire project.
Absolutely. I can see that.
I could possibly accept that.
Yeah, like I would love that to happen. But
yeah, it's not gonna happen.
He's killing it on his own.
I mean, he's doing what he loves right now.
Yeah.
He did not love Hollywood in the least bit.
No.
Yeah.
So
and he didn't like the roles he was getting.
Yeah.
I mean, the shows are killing it. The tours are selling out, and it seems like everyone, because I follow most of the Letterkenny cast on Instagram and on TikTok, and man, it's just they're having a lot of fun with it too, and it just seems so easy, and they can go nowhere but up.
Yeah.
Exactly. So let's get in to last week. We covered veteran presence. Jesus, rented lips. With our good buddy Danielle Chip Lehman, the tiniest, most adorable goalie in history. She's amazing, and it was great to have her on. So veteran presence was really just all about introducing our studs, or as Meeg and Zieg and Nat would say, sluts. But that's really what the entire episode was. And learning a bit more about Shoresy, and just, how he works in day-to-day life. So that's kind of how I saw that episode. You guys, what was your set on the context of that?
That was pretty much, you're bringing all these characters, and you got to take an episode to flush them all out.
Yep.
And
or start fleshing them out.
Yeah, because you kind of get told what they're like. It's a quick, easy introduction, and then
I mean, and they did. I like the way that they did it. It was humorous, and Zieg was giving Shoresy, just peppering him.
Remember at first when it opened up with the rap song, I was like, wait, is this the right episode?
Right.
Like, wait. Then I'm like, okay, we're good.
Yeah. So then let's get into this week's episode, season 1, episode 3 of Shoresy, deep dive of Know Your Role. So in our opening, we begin on the ice with a group of children singing "Oh Canada." The camera pans through all of their cherubic faces as they sing. The camera then switches to the backs of the Timmins team. We see all the players that we've heard named in the last episode, including all of the Appledorns. Finally, the camera switches to the Bulldogs' faces. We pan across, we see Hitch, JJ, Goody, Dolo, and then Shoresy. And Shoresy's got full waterworks going on. Next, we switch to after the opening logo shows. We're at a black screen, and we hear Shoresy chirping at one of the Appledorns. The screen pops up, then still all in black, saying 24 hours later. Earlier. So, I'm sorry. Yes, earlier. Thank you. We're at Pepe Panini with Shoresy and Sanguinet sitting across from one another. Sanguinet nervously is asking Shoresy for assistance in coaching the first game because he's never done it before. Shoresy tells him it's not that difficult. What Sanger is really concerned about is being seen as a bully.
It's not fucking bullying. Everybody's so soft. It's tough love.
What's the difference?
All right, we're teammates. We're brothers.
Yeah?
I'd go to the wall for you.
Yeah?
Are you my brother?
You're my brother.
Would you go to the wall for me?
I'll go to the wall.
Then you're allowed to call me a fucking useless cunt on your way there.
Yeah?
Hell yeah, fuck yeah.
So Shoresy gives in and says just for this one game, but he tells Sanger that Sanger has to call the lineup. So next we cut to the locker room. The team is now getting ready for the match. Sanger walks into the locker room, hair braided in a beautiful tan. Would you say it's tan?
Yeah.
Yeah, tan suit.
Yeah.
The team loves it. He's looking snazzy. Even has the bolo tie, and yeah. So Sanger starts calling the lineup. During the lineup, when he calls JJ seems a little someplace else. Shoresy notices it, calls him out on it. Finally, once the lineup is done, Sanger awkwardly hands the floor over to Shoresy, who's a bit irked at the way he handled it, but he stands up and addresses the team. Shoresy calls out the bad players on the team and tells them how useless they are and that they serve at the behest of the studs, and that he especially calls out Tindy for being the most useless player on the team and tells the other players that their job is to hit the Appledorns and to block shots to help Tindy out because he's so useless. When asked about how they were going to handle the Appledorns, Shoresy has the gyms introduce themselves. Problem solved. Next, we cut to the stands in the arena. Liam and Corey, the junior hockey players, are sitting together in the stands with hardly anyone else in attendance. Nat, who's higher up in the balcony, is looking down, dismayed at the turnout. Meeg tries to let her know that they're just now doing something new. Zieg also informs Nat that the season ticket holders are calling because they're asking for their money back. Now we go down to the ice. The Bulldogs on the bench are on the bench, ready. The Timmins on the bench, ready. Studs on the ice having a standoff against but mostly the Appledorns. Then we cut to the puck drop. Shoresy is facing off. The puck drops, and Dolo immediately drops his mitts and provides a beatdown to one of the Appledorns, knocking his ass out. So period one begins, and the Bulldogs immediately take the lead, but it doesn't last long as Tindy gives up 4 by the end of the period. We cut to the stands. Liam shows Corey the video that he's done of the Tilly, telling him he's going to post it, and he bets he gets at least 100 views overnight. Corey then calls him a nerd. So I don't know what's wrong with being a nerd, but anyway, we cut back to the locker room. Shoresy gives out props to Dolo for the Tilly, but then immediately admonishes Tindy for being so bad. He even throws a roll of toilet paper at him, show him he can catch. Then he calls up the gyms for second period. He also tells Frankie, who's out of sorts, to shoot the puck because he's just still not knowing where he is. Back on the ice, the second period has begun. The Bulldogs scored 2 goals as Timmins has only scored 1. And the gyms brought a good beatdown or 2 along the way. The game at the end of the period is 3-5 in favor of Timmins. Back in the locker room, in between periods, Shoresy immediately starts cutting into Tindy. While this is happening, Goody, Dolo, and Hitch are all talking about how awesome Sanger's suit is. Shoresy then gets at JJ for not shooting anything. He tries to entice him with food, but JJ is still somewhere else. Up in the stands in the arena, Nat and the girls are still at the top of the arena looking down. Nat is convinced the team is going to lose. We cut quickly back to the locker room, and almost as if responding to Nat, Shoresy says they will not lose. Just before they head out on the ice, JJ gets a text from someone named Laurent saying, "I'm here," with 3 exclamation marks. JJ gives a big smile. Then we hit the arena. Looking down, Mig comments on Sanguinet's suit again. Very, very enticed. Zieg is, of course, annoyed about this, as she usually is about many things. Third period has started. We see Goody throw a shoulder into an Appledorn, knocking him out. Shoresy chirps at the knocked out Appledorn, while another Appledorn tries to confront Shoresy. Dolo comes over to Goody and pulls the contact that he knocked out of the Appledorn's eye onto his face. Shoresy still chirping at the Appledorn. He yells at JJ at the same time to shoot the puck. JJ looks up at the stand and sees a very pretty redhead walking in. And she waves at him and sits down right in front of Corey and Liam. JJ gives a huge smile. Puck drops, and JJ immediately hits a goal. The boys are on fire. The team is now tied 5-5 with 1 minute left. Sanger calls a timeout. He calls the studs to the ice. Shoresy gives in to the plan.
All right, boys. We're not losing to a team who got their buckets at fucking Giant Tiger. Now, the D have been pinching all night. What we're going to do is we're going to hit them with the beer league special, okay? So, JJ, once that puck fucking drops, I want you to beeline it straight up the center past their D. Dolo, I'm going to win it back to you. You flick it over everybody's heads. JJ skates into it.
Good idea.
What's the best fucking idea I ever heard in my life?
And just so that for those who are only listening audio, Awesome has chirped in that the not to channel McMurray or anything, but that color is called oxblood. So there we go. Anyway, Shoresy lines up for the face-off against an Appledorn, chirping about he's going to take out his entire top row. The puck drops. Shoresy flings it back to Dolo. Shoresy gets Appledorn's stick to his face. JJ heads toward the Timmins goal as Dolo flings the puck overhead to JJ. With only the Tindy to beat, JJ scores easily. The Bulldogs win 6-5. The boys are then in the locker room shortly thereafter, celebrating. Shoresy calls on Sanger to call out for the MVP of the game. Sanger gives the game stick to JJ. The game stick, of course, a drumstick ice cream. The discussion then turns to having the entire team getting a stick after the win. The decision is to give the winning stick to the MVP first, and then to the rest of the boys. Thanks to the gents for making that decision.
Sticks are good now.
Shoresy then asks the stud if they've called their parents. They have not. He admonishes them about that yet again. We cut to the GM's office. Nat and the girls are celebrating the W, but Nat voices her displeasure at Tindy not getting the ones he should have gotten. Then Tindy, Fish, and a few others of the boys come in to give an ultimatum that they can't be there, even with the W's if Shoresy's running the show. Sanguinet, who's just walked in behind them, tells them that is not what's happening. It's his show. Tindy isn't having it, doubles down on the ultimatum. When Nat doesn't answer immediately, he quits. Zieg follows him out of the office, down the hall, chirping about how awful it is, and he's such a piece of shit. Sanguinet ensures Fish and the other boys that he will be running things from now on. They shake hands, head off to the Colson. Nat understandably is concerned how things have changed, and she tells Meeg to open up a tab at the Colson and Pepe Panini for the boys, and then heads out to find a new tender. We cut to Pepe Panini, where Shoresy, Sanger, and the boys, minus JJ, are all chatting when Pam walks up to take their order and make fun of their name again, as she likes to do. Shoresy shrugs it off and tells her about their win. She doesn't care. She tells them to look at the wall for whatever they want. Goody, of course, is asking for off-the-menu items.
You have any chicken fingers?
Like for your little brother?
No.
We don't have chicken fingers.
Chicken tenders?
Goody loves chicken.
No.
Chicken strips?
Look, if you want pub food, you go around the corner to the doghouse. Best wings in town.
They got popcorn chicken.
Who is this kid?
How's that pitter-patter panini, boss?
I'd have one every day of the week if the price is right.
Fuck you, Shoresy.
Le pitter-patter panini, ça va être ça, ma belle.
5 pitter-patters for the Sudbury Cantaloupe Cockapoo.
Just then, right after the order is placed, Laurence and JJ walk in. JJ introduces the team to Laurence. Shoresy then introduces the team to her as well. Laurence knows who Shoresy is and what he did to JJ. She tells them that Quebec never forgets. Shoresy, of course, brings up how JJ will never forget to eat some form of candy or some Dunkaroos and pizza and Dunker or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a mess. She calls him extremely mean-spirited, and of course, Shoresy doesn't care. Next, we cut to Nat walking into an apartment, which has its door open. She calls out for Michaels. He comes out only in a pair of bikini briefs. Looking around his apartment, she sees that it's pretty bare. She asks him what's happened to all of his stuff. He says that a woman he was in love with took all of it, and the only thing she apparently loved, which was obvious not him, was giving Party Island squeezers. She tells him that she wants him to come back to the team, not as a coach, but as the new Tendy. After a bit of back and forth, he says he'll come back, but he wants something in return before he'll completely agree.
I want an apology from Sanguinet.
Sure.
And Shoresy. Man to man.
Why do you care what that mutant thinks?
Yeah. So from there, we cut to Shoresy roughing the juniors, both giving and getting chirps from the usual Liam and Corey. Liam tells Shoresy that he posted Dolo's fight and it's got almost 10,000 views. The chirping resumes as the scene shows Shoresy now looking at the video of that Liam posted and reading all the comments and support. From there, we cut to Nat, where we see her and Meeg and Z. Nat walks into her office, seeing Meeg and Z on the phone with the season ticket holders who wanted the refunds. Nat tells the girls to tell them to fuck off, but Meeg tells them that they are no longer wanting the refunds. They want to make sure that they still have their seats. She is very happy about this. Finally, the scene cuts to a truck outside of Shoresy's apartment because he lives just above the theater. And the three muscleheads from the Colson, the big bald-headed guy and the other guys, looking up at Shoresy's apartment. Cutting inside to Shoresy's apartment, we see all the studs sitting down in front of TV and eating sticks. Cut to black, end credits.
And Dolo smoking a blunt.
Dolo smoking a blunt, of course. Now, before we get to what everybody thought, I want to bring up a couple of bits of trivia. So at the very beginning, when Shoresy and Sanger are talking about Shoresy helping Sanger coach, Sanger asks, "Do I look like Ken Hitchcock?" Now, this is the impetus for our favorite Newfoundland stud, Ted Hitchcock, and his 10-inch cock pseudonym. Then when Shoresy asks Sanger, "Do I look like Reg Dunlop?" This is in reference to a character Paul Newman played in the movie Slapshot in 1977. The premise of that movie is this. In the small town of New England, in a New England town called Charleston, there is a local mill that's about to lay off 10,000 coworkers. The town's minor league hockey team, the Charleston Chiefs, is doing no better. After years of failure, this will be the team's last season. Exasperated, player and coach Reg Dunlop lets the club's recent acquisitions, the Hanson brothers, play. The brothers are actively violent and thuggish in their style of play. This excites the fans. Dunlop retools the team using violence to draw a big crowd. Sound familiar?
It's a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just
No,
a
but I
smidge.
mean, I do. I mean, I can't say that that's exactly what was even coming. Was trying to come out about this, but it feels like a hometown Canadian telling of of a very similar type story.
Well, Jared never does anything by mistake. So having that throwaway line in there that unless somebody's looking for it or like knows the movie, they're not going to see it. Like he threw that out there for people who are fans of hockey movies and who probably were like, "Oh, this is kind of familiar." And then he says that and they're like, "Oh yeah," So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and Reggie Dunlop was a player coach of that team. So, and if you're a hockey fan, you do not know Slapshot, if that made any sense. Like that's the hockey movie I started on, and then you go on to Young Bloods, Miracle, Goon, Mystery Alaska, all these other movies that are
Goon 2,
Goon 2, yeah.
Who was created and directed and everything by our good bud Hard Right Jay Baruchel.
I love him.
He's amazing.
I'll still cry at the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Still will.
That's all right. I mean, Shoresy cries at O Canada. That's all right. So,
and I love that was the Chekhov's gun. Like
exactly.
In like episode 1.
Yep.
And you got rewarded in episode 3.
With RA there. Yep. So I have a question real quick, a hockey question. Now the ending shot for the game. Mm-hmm. So Shoresy wins the drop, gets it back to Dolo, who flicks it over everybody. Now it seems to me the way that went, I couldn't tell angles and everything. That would be something akin to icing, would it not?
Now icing is just when you pass the puck from behind the center line and no one touches it, and it goes across the far goal line.
Okay.
So
maybe offside?
It depends on how you pass it. Because if they're having for me, they're having a face-off dot in their own zone, which is going to be down in one of the corners. So in the time it takes for Shoresy to win that face-off back to Dolo, and he's just going to flip it, JJ is not going to be able to skate to the other blue line.
Okay.
And they called it beer league special because it's happens all the time in beer league. It's another thing they call it is cherry picking, where you just have one guy who just sits behind the defense and just waits for that breakout pass. It works sometimes if you don't have D who are aware of it, but I don't want to say it's cheap. It's 100% legal, but JJ's just going to go, and there's nothing that you can do. Like, you can flip it, you flip it over everybody, and if you get the pass right, and how JJ receives the pass is one of my favorite ways to receive a pass. You skate past it, you drag your stick, and you just tap it in between your feet.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love that move. I practice that so much. But it's a beer league special. It's like, because your defense is standing flat-footed on the face-off, so JJ's going to go straight, and it is 10 times harder to start skating backwards than it is to start skating forwards. So by the time JJ is going, the defense is already, once the realization is hit, they're already done. Unless you get like a really good defensive skater, but in the no-show, you probably don't have that.
Yeah. So what was your take on their play? I mean, how, as far as accuracy and things like that?
Oh, it works. Like, it 100% works. And what, like, the thing I want to key in on is what Shoresy did to win the face-off, because it's the exact same thing I pretty much did. I was playing a beer league championship game. We got 30 seconds left. We were up by 1, and we had a face-off in the middle of the zone. I'm like, all we had to do was make sure they didn't get. So I didn't care about getting the puck. I just cared about fucking with the other guy. So I'm in there chirping him. And like, once the puck drops, I don't go for the puck. I just put my stick out and I just block him. I just stand there. And I wasted 20 seconds of just standing there in his way where he couldn't do anything. And of course, it's beer league, so not a lot of people know that. In the NHL, you'll see people jump into the face-off. In beer league, it doesn't happen so well. But what Shoresy did is he just chirped him. He says, like, they've been wanting to fight him all night. He's like, all right, I told you I'm coming for your top row, bud.
Have Bauer stamped on your bicuspids.
Yeah. So Shoresy pulled off a bluff where as soon as that puck dropped, Shoresy went for the puck, won it, but the other player, I'm assuming was an Appledorn, went straight for the cross check in Shoresy's face. So Shoresy took one for the team. So that was the only uncertainty in that play is could Shoresy win the face off? And he did because he just tripped the other guy, pissed him off, got a cross check to the face, but he ended up taking the hit to move the puck.
And that's one thing about Shoresy, even if you go back to the National Senior Hockey League Championships, by taking out Bobby Clark and JJ, he took one for the team because he had to come off, but he knew he was taking JJ out as well. So,
which, Quebec never forgets.
Yep.
Quebec never forgets.
Yeah. So all right, you guys, your other thoughts, theories, trivia, whatnot.
Everything that goes into the hockey on this is 100% accurate to the way they call the lineups, to the game stick. Most teams will have some sort of MVP trophy. And I know usually it changes up every year. I know for the Dallas Stars, my team, they've kind of had this chain with like, it's not like a man, but like a silver medallion or something like that with the Stars logo on it. I think they've had championship belts from like wrestling. They've had a Nerf sword. Nice. And they'll pass it on. So usually they'll have that MVP player of the game. The way they even call the lineup, like that's become standard practice. One of the things I love about the NHL is they've done this Road to the Winter Classic for so many years, and so you get to see behind the scenes of locker room talk. And almost every season you go to, they'll be like, "Hey, you good?" You'll respond yes, and like, "Good, because you're going." Boom, good, because you're going. And that is 100% accurate, and just the feel of this is just 100% correct. Even because me playing beer league, I don't get too many intermissions, but there's nothing better than an intermission dump in between periods of a hockey game.
Shoresy
greatest feeling in the world.
Between every single
every period,
right before every game, and in between every period.
Before and after, and even just sitting in the locker room, shoulder pads, sweater off, elbow pads off. You're just sitting in your pants, shin pads. Sometimes skate, sometimes no, but you're just sitting there. Oh man, Kelly gets so mad at me because I'll be done with a game, and it'll be 45 minutes later, and I'll take my pads off, sweater off, and I'll just sit there for like 20 minutes and just chill.
When I was in the Army, that was kind of how you. At the end of the day, you may not take your pants off, but you've taken your blouse off, and you're sitting there in just your shirt.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yep.
Yep.
So. Yeah, Chris, former Air Force guy here. So,
well, technically still in for the next 8 months.
Oh, okay.
And then it's retire time.
Nice.
Get my weekends back. And Kelly's excited because I finally get to grow and keep the beard this time.
Yeah, I didn't have there was nothing that I could when I was in the Army, I couldn't take that experience with me out of it. There was no civilian artillery, so. That was not a skill I needed. So yeah, I got out of there. I did the war thing and I was done. I'm like, yeah, I did everything I can do. So
yeah, I did. Because this will be my 20 years in November, and now I've moved on from mechanic to like tech author, which is really nice. So there's some skill I can take with me, but of course I'm going to school to change it up.
Sure.
But yeah, it's going to be weird because I went in telling myself I was never a military guy. And here I am 20 years later retiring as a master sergeant.
Nice.
If nothing else happens in between.
Right.
In the next 8 months.
It's gonna be the day before.
Fingers crossed. What's a hockey superstition that would like like the crossing of fingers? Is there a hockey superstition that you?
Oh, there's so many. I have maybe one. I have like one undershirt that I try to wear for every game. Like I'll wash it. I take my stick before every game. I tape it the same way. It gets waxed. There's always for me, it's always the prep work. Like I'll tie my skates. I'll do a lap. I'll sit on the bench and tie them again. I'll untie them and then tie them again. And then I'll do my stretch and my warm up. And I always do leg stretches. Then I do get on the ice, do my back stretches. I'll do my one hard lap, and then I'll start shooting pucks. It's kind of a routine for me. But yeah, it's always the same undershirt is just like, this is what I feel good in. This is what I play good in. Cool. Tape and sticks the same way. Like every player has a routine. And I think there's also the, with NHL playoffs going on right now, people don't shave during the playoffs. So you get all
playoff beard. In fact, I think
beard.
that's what the band that we do on the show here. They have a song called Playoff Beard.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, they won't shave because it's like you don't have time to shave. You're always focusing on the next game.
Yep.
Or you're playing so many games.
Yeah.
So you don't have time to shave.
Makes sense.
So.
All right, so let's get back to the show stuff. Give us, Tiara, give us your thoughts.
Oh, hey, like I am sitting back here. I fully expected it to be like mostly you two because I know you were like, I have so many hockey questions.
Well, I want you to. I don't want to leave you out, of course.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, Shoresy's whole philosophy on is it bullying or is it what you do in the locker room, tough love. Like, I know that is absolutely sport culture. So it's hard for me to say, I really disagree with what he says, and I understand why so many of the players like fucking hate him for it. But also, like, I understand that is how hockey players talk to each other a lot of the time.
Does that not happen in roller derby?
Oh no,
really?
Roller derby is like, well, let me say this a little different. If you are on the right team for you, it's like a family.
Okay.
Like it's super supportive and like it's not.
And it's hard to get that back too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because I remember I played with a hockey team with the Rampage and we were family. We'd go out every night. We'd go to putt, go drinking, like whatever we'd do after games. And I have not been on a team like that since, except for maybe like my military tournaments. We only play like 1 weekend a year. But other than that, it's hard to find a team where you're like a family.
Well, it seems like that's kind of what, at least, at the very least, the studs are.
That's what Shoresy's trying to do. But as we learn later in the season, that is how he is with family. Like that is that's why I was like, I
his
know
love
that
language.
This is exactly. I know that this is how he thinks he should be expressing his admiration for, like, what did he say about Tendy? Like, you're great in the room, you're shit on the floor. Like, because he's like, you're a great guy, but you're a shitty hockey player and you're doing a shitty job. And everybody should be aware of this so that they are making sure that you are not the one that fucks up. And like, I get that. I would not handle that very well. Can you read that out loud, Dean?
That part made me stop and think because normally I consider that ableism, but then have to focus on the fact that it's a microcosm and that's part of the whole team members, et cetera, signed up for.
Right, exactly. Like me, I would not survive in that kind of an environment. I would be out the door the first time he chirped at me like that because I do not, that's not love language to me.
Yeah.
But I also know people who are like that. So
and I think Shoresy recognizes that if you're going to play hockey in like a tough environment where you're getting bodies are banging, like you're gonna need that tough love. You're gonna need to
and that's what he's
man
saying,
up to say. But like same thing with the military. Like I have all my airmen that I've trained over the years, and I can't talk to them all the same way. But for the most part, I can say you need to step up, and because you suck right now. But that's not the way I'm gonna go talk to my wife.
Right.
Oh yes. No.
Yeah. So,
that would be a divorce.
Yeah. So because now you could see the dynamic start to switch. When Sanger brings up,
yes, that was going to be the next
the drumstick,
thing.
yeah.
Well, no, not the drumstick.
Okay, which part are you talking
about? Sanger brings up how uncomfortable he is because he's afraid of, he doesn't want to be a bully. Like that's part of that whole conversation that comes up later, and he's got so much anxiety around all of that like he's so convinced that he's going to do a shitty job of being a bully, he can't be the coach. And Shoresy's like, it's not being a bully, it's doing this, but he still can't. He can't do that. That's not him. That's not his way of communicating. So he's still trying to figure out how to be a coach. Like he does not have faith in himself yet.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet that like kind of Shoresy confirms like, hey, you go to the wall for me, right? He's like, yeah, I'd go to the wall for you. You're allowed to call me a useless cunt on the way there.
Yeah.
It's like you
But-
reaffirm where you are, what your status is, and like because of this, it's the same way. Like I can insult my brothers same way, but like you can't insult my family.
Yes, that's exactly.
That's something I always say. Is
and that's something you said when we watched this episode
yeah,
too.
Yeah. So, but one of the things I
first
noticed
thing.
that dynamic starting to switch at the end with the game sticks, because he talks about about the entire team getting a stick, and Sanger says, including me, and he starts to go, shut the. You bet, and he's like, no, I have to actually show.
I have to treat him like a coach.
Right. Like a coach
Yeah.
that I appreciate. And I mean, for his first game, Sanger did a great job. He listened to Shoresy. He did take some, it looked like he took some steps on his own. And he once he picked up on Shoresy's vibe from, I'm going to hand the show over to Shoresy for a minute. I mean, instead of, saying, he should have said something along the lines of Shoresy being the captain of the team. He brought these all our studs in. I'd like to have him say a few words, something along those lines. He could have been a lot cleaner at.
Right.
I agree with
But,
Shoresy,
like,
but
Sanguinet's
technically
like,
he
I don't know how
wasn't
to do
captain
this.
yet.
yeah, true. But yeah, it's it was, but yeah, towards the end, you could see that Shoresy had gotten some respect for Sanger.
But during all of that, like speaking of when they were having the sticks, like Tendy and Fish, you could see, like if you're paying attention, they're like, no, we're done. I don't like this. This is shitty. Even as they're like eating the ice cream, because they won, but Shoresy still kept telling Tendy how fucking useless he was and how shitty he played and how many, like, I mean, again, I understand that that's Shoresy's love language, but I very much understand where the Tendy was coming from, because you probably know that you did a shit job because you just let by like five. You let by 5, so you know that you are doing a shit job at this game. You do not need probably the someone you used to look at as the captain, because that someone who used to look up as the captain telling you that you are just a piece of shit. Like that's a little much in my opinion.
I mean, going from Michaels, the way Michaels was, which was he was
who
a
was
complete
so soft
fluffer.
and sweet. Yeah.
I'm gonna fluff you guys.
And I think it's important because that reaction from the attendee is one of those like, okay, he shouldn't be here,
Right.
Because
right.
one of the things that Shoresy says is like, it's not like they don't like winning, it's they don't hate to lose.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And like if you don't have that drive, I remember there's a story when the Dallas Cowboys when Jimmy Johnson came in and right before he won the Super Bowl run, where Michael Irvin go to Jimmy Johnson like, these are the people who aren't going to work at it. They're not the ones who are going to sacrifice, and it said they got to go. And if you're not on the same page or the same team, it's because for
especially
me,
in a situation like that.
because I'm one of those guys too. Like you tell me I suck, and I'm like, oh, I will show you I do not suck.
Right. Right. And I think that's what Shoresy thought was like what he was trying to do. I'm trying to piss you off so that you can show me like that you can do better. Like I absolutely get it. I can't turn off my teacher brain sometime, and I had like kids that act like that on the playground cannot continue acting like that.
So some people can take it and some people respond to it and some people don't. So usually on a hockey team, it's one of those environments you're gonna need thick skin and you're gonna need to nut up or shut up.
Yeah. Put your
lack
jibs in,
of
boys.
a better metaphor.
Yeah, absolutely. I only ever played on like I don't know, home team stuff. I was never a player that played against like I was never on an all-star team or something like that. It was never serious for me when I played roller derby. It started turning into a serious sport, and that's when I left because it wasn't fun anymore. So
it started off beer league and then got
it very
warped.
much started off beer league and then turned into let's try and get in the Olympics. And I am not an Olympic skater. That's not ever. So, but anyway, okay. So the next one, I know. So I know I said this to Dean and he was like, no. But I kind of want to ask you, Chris, and like anybody who's listening what they think. But was Michaels wearing the same prosthetic that that
color did not
Stuart wore.
match.
Well, no, you didn't see it when Stuart's horn. You saw just the outline of it in his tights. I think I feel like they wouldn't have gotten another one.
Well, I mean, you
Dean's
take a
like,
look at what you have
but-
in the prop closet.
Right.
I know the color didn't match because, like, I guess I'll divulge the secret for guys. Because if there's one part of us that never gets tan, it's probably the old twig and berries.
Legit.
But yeah,
like it was kind of darker than his surrounding skin. I'm like, that's weird. I can't put my finger on it, and I'm not going to. But I was like, there's something wrong with this, and it took me like 2-3 minutes. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, that's not going to be tanner than the rest of him. Although he was walking around in his apartment in like bikini bottom. So I'm like, well, maybe, but
a
like
lot of red spots on him.
I mean,
I
his
thought he
dick
was
just happens to
sunburned.
pop out
Focused.
every so often.
Yeah, it just happens to pop out and didn't feel it.
Yeah.
I don't. Wouldn't you feel it?
Of course.
Okay.
I would feel it.
Thank you.
It's like saying you don't feel a condom on you.
Yeah, it's like something's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michaels is a weirdo. I mean, like Matt said,
The overacting was so.
Oh yeah, goalies
perfectly
Tindies
gross. almost.
are all weird. Tindies are drama queens most of the time. It's a rule that if you're a full-time Tindy, I did Tindy for like 2 seasons, and I had just enough weirdness to compensate. But all full-time Tindies are weird. They're off. And it's like everyone's trying to get out of the way of the puck. They're the only one standing in front of it, so they're just a photo negative mentally of everyone else. So it's so weird.
but it seems the other reason I have 2 reasons that I say it's a different one, because it seemed a lot more like it was squishy. Unlike Stewart's seemed a bit more firm.
Okay.
I think because it was in those compression tights, and it seemed shorter than Shoresy's. I mean, Stewart's.
They didn't. I don't know. I want to say yes, but also I didn't really stare at that area to figure out if it. Like where it might have
sure you didn't.
Size-wise. No. I am absolutely like Nat. It was like
Look,
your dick's out.
I can see Dean. I can see Dean turning to you like, "Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
Is that what the ladies like?"
No. No, thank you. No.
It's like
No.
oh.
No. Nah.
So,
Put your titty up, Adele. All right, what else you got, baby?
Okay, so I got one more. This is another one that I have mentioned to you, Dean. So this is more of like a whole season question. So we obviously are not going to be able to answer it today because this is one that it's going to come back again. So when we are introduced to JJ Frankie JJ, he decided to come to Sudbury because of all the hot women in Sudbury, right? Because he's dated all these other people and he's tired of dating all of them. So now he's going to go and date some new women. But he's like bored and checked out and asleep up until the moment when Laurence shows up, who is obviously somebody that he's got a relationship with, at least minimally. And, you know, we will see in future episodes that she will recur. So my question is kind of like, is Laurence a girlfriend? Does JJ want her to be a girlfriend? But why did he go to Sudbury if he's?
I think it's he's looking. He still needs a bit of home, and I think that's what he sees Laurence as, that he's got something that's grounding him from home there.
Okay.
See, my theory on it is,
I don't want to make any spoilers or anything
yeah.
for later in the season. So
see, my theory is Laurence Leboeuf wants to be with JJ because he is the pride of Quebec.
Right.
But like JJ's kind of like, nah, like I came to like wheel chicks. But like
but he woke up when she showed up. Like he was playing like shit. And then all of a sudden he's
Big
like,
smile.
yeah.
But there is a part of him that like I think Laurence wants it so bad that she treats him really well.
Oh yeah.
Because like in the same, well, can't get ahead in episodes.
Yeah.
But
well, in this episode, she kind of defends him to
Yeah,
Shoresy, and just basically on his behalf is like, Shoresy, you're a dick, and he's still sitting there like, what?
And like JJ's like on another level now. Like he's like wheeling celebrities.
Yeah.
And she is a celebrity. She is.
Yeah.
And what's funny, I had no idea until I looked today that Laurence Leboeuf is played by Laurence Leboeuf. So she, I'm like, and she was also in 19 with Jared. So
and that's one of those things. I'm glad you brought it up, Tara. Is that I don't care any hockey player. Whenever they're a significant other or a possible rocket comes in that they know, like your standard of play goes up. Like I've told Kelly, like as soon as Kelly walks in, I get a stride faster. I start taking a little bit more chances. And there's sometimes like I know she's coming, but I'll score a goal too fast. And I was like, then I'll see her walking. I'm like, you just like 5 minutes ago, like come on. And like every time like I score a goal, I'm looking straight at her and I'm like, did you see that? Yep. I thought so.
You signed to her in the stands. I love that.
that's
yeah.
awesome.
There's
perfect.
times I was like, hey, like I need a water, please. Or like, did you see that apple? And so I taught her the hockey lingo that an assist is an apple. So we signed apple. And I was like, oh yeah, that was my apple.
So you've had a Gino, you've had an apple. How many Tillies have you had?
In beer league? Oh. I've probably had 3 or 4, but it sucks because they don't go because they're beer leagues, so they don't go all the way. But yeah, I've been kicked out of 2-3 games, and yeah, most of the time you just get like the one punch in and someone's there to break it up. When I was reffing my second night reffing, I definitely learned how to control a game because that was like an 11 o'clock game. Everyone's pissed off and tired. And so we ended up having like fights, and I broke up like 3 fights that night. And then ever since then, when you start to feel the game change, you have to go like, all right, I need to start calling penalties or people are going to get pissed off and start fights. But yeah, it's when Lawrence walks in and like JJ wakes up, like,
yeah,
I feel that like you're kind of like, if I know Kelly's coming to a game, I know she's running late. I'm not 100% until she gets there.
Yeah.
And after that, it's fucking on.
Yeah. I get that. Like when I was performing,
Yeah. There's always the one person in the stands that you're like, this is who, like, everyone's here to see me play hockey or whatever, who's there to watch the game. But you're like, I'm playing for this one person, and it's a light switch. You turn it on, and it's on because I want to do cool shit in front of Kelly. Like I want to score cool goals.
Totally.
She has not seen me. I've taken 2 pucks to the face, which she has not seen. But like, you want to be like, I'm tough. I can take this. Right. I've had injuries where I've skated off, and then I'm just like over the bench going, motherfucker. So yeah. But,
all right. What else you got, babe?
That's it.
That's it. You got anything else? Trivia, observations, thoughts, theories?
Sticks are awesome.
They are. Actually, we just got a Costco pack today.
Oh, I need to get me a stick.
Well, come visit.
After this done, I'm gonna go visit Kelly up at work. I may stop by the DQ that's on her way to her work.
Get you a deli bar.
But also, you both should come visit.
And this is what I love about the writing of the show is I am a sucker for alliteration and connotation.
Oh my God,
I love it so much. It just makes my little nerd heart
Kiso
happy.
does that so often. It's amazing.
Like the way it all this really reminds me of is like the writing back of like Bud Abbott, Lou Costello, and it's just it flows so well, and it's kind of the way we were talking about, like we have to watch it with captions because it goes so fast and so smooth that you're gonna miss something. And same thing with this, it's just get a dilly bar in your belly, buddy. Yeah,
I've even taken it over on our Disputed podcast when because I have Demond doing the intros of the show, and I will purposely alliterate the intro in some way, shape, or form.
And then he'll try and recover from that.
We'll be watching a movie and someone will alliterate, and I'm sitting next to Kelly. I'm like, I'll turn to her like, I fucking love alliteration.
How about the Nectarine Neapolitan Mastiffs there?
Like all these team names, they all slap, they all hit. I'm like,
totally.
Like cocktail cockapoos.
So, who wants to get into a little bit of? Hang on, I'm trying to square away my screen here. There we go.
Oh, I almost got to see some stuff there.
Oh, did you? Oh, it's just the stuff that I've already shown on the screen. Actually, here's one that didn't show. As a drummer, I now co-identify with Tindies. Yes,
This is what I've heard.
drummers are a very different
Species.
breed. I mean, I've played in enough bands to know this for sure.
Yes.
And I have lots of drummer jokes. My favorite one being is, what does the drummer say when he comes to the microphone? May I take your order, please?
Fuck, I forgot that one. Oh my god, I remember when you used to say that to what's his name that was in your last band, or not your
Steve?
last band. Yeah, Steve. It was
Yeah.
like the fun band, not the last
Yeah.
band. The fun band.
Well, Steve even played for that band.
That is true.
So,
And Steve was really good, and still did not feel like that
Yeah.
other person appreciated him.
all right. So, and I'm gonna somehow, some way, I'm gonna come up with a with a plug song for this. But this is we're gonna play our game
yeah.
of squeeze. Actually, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Who was your favorite stud of this episode?
Oh yeah.
For the whole season, it's been 10 Hitchcock. I mean, Ted Hitchcock.
I love Hitch.
Just
Hitch is
the-
my favorite.
Just the way he talks, boys. He seems to me like he's that. And like I've been to Newfoundland. It was
What do you call
with
a
all my
drummer whose partner
travels.
left them homeless.
Oh. Yeah.
And that's the
on
thing.
All my
Legit.
military trips, I've been to Newfoundland, and they are the nicest people. There's always people waiting for us just to thank us for our service and all that, and they're just the greatest people and the nicest people in the world. So I love Newfoundlanders. But the way he talks, I just love the accent. I love
Yeah.
it, and I love all the studs because they're, especially when Sanguinet walks in that suit, and they're all just like,
Oh, yeah.
oh.
They love Sanger so much.
But Ted Hitchcock, just the way he talks is
Oh yeah.
it's great.
And he's the oldest of the entire group. He's 45 in real life.
He looks like that, like the old 1940s New York
Yeah.
brawler with the flat cap and
Yep.
Yep.
So T, who you got? Who's your favorite?
See, I don't know. I keep looking at him and I can't pick one, and my brain's going, just say the Jims.
The Jims are beauties.
Can they be one?
But they're the Jims. They're not the studs.
Oh, okay. God damn it. Let's say Dolo.
Yeah, for this episode, Dolo. I mean, because he starts off with things. He
the tilly.
He sets the tone with the tilly.
Yep.
And he flings the puck at the end. He scores the first goal. He flings the puck to win the last goal. So
And the fact that he just talks in French the entire time.
Yes.
And what I
But
love is that
understands.
it's seamless. It is
Yes.
seamless between all the players.
yeah,
I mentioned
And-
that. I was like, everyone speaks like 3 languages out there.
And
Yeah.
there's no pressure. It's not like, oh, hey, just speak English, or hey, you speak French when you speak it. It's no, like, he speaks French, they speak English. It works.
Yep.
I love it,
It's
how
beautiful.
seamless it is.
Great. All right, so let's get into Squeezer, Mitts, or Scratch, which is our version. So if you've watched us on How Are You Now, listen to us on How Are You Now, we have Fuck Fight Ferda. This, we have something a little bit different. This is more about, less about who you would do or what you would do to them, more that who deserves what. Actually, Awesome has the Aran Ganzi flat cap leather coat combo is fucking deadly.
Right?
Yeah. So does this character deserve an underwater squeezer? Do they deserve to have the mitts dropped and we're throwing down a scrap, have tilly time, or are they a healthy scratch? Yeah, they're neither here nor there. So, and so that's how we're going to play it. So we're going to start off as we always do with Shoresy.
Shoresy's got to he's got to get a squeezer. He deserves a squeezer. But he's got that country pride. He's crying at the national anthem.
Yeah.
He stepped in for his buddy Sanguinet.
He sacrificed his face.
Yeah, he played it right. Like when they're talking about the sticks, he's like, wait, like I don't get this, but let's run this through. Let's ask the team. The way they talk to the Jims are just beauties.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Just like this is where Shoresy's becoming a fleshed out character, and
Yeah.
he deserves a squeezer,
Agreed.
especially from a certain reporter.
Yes.
Agreed.
Laura. Need more Laura.
I hope in the second season that has a little more flirt on her part too.
Yeah. So in the next we go to Sanguinet, and I'm pretty sure we're all in the same boat on this one.
Squeezer.
He's getting a squeezer almost every episode, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yep.
So then we go to our and what I consider the indica of the strains of the sluts of the studs.
The
Goody,
two super highlights.
Goody is
He's definitely indica.
He's definitely
Popcorn
indica.
shrimp.
so
Popcorn shrimp
so
is so good, man.
Goody is great. I love it.
Sticks
I
are
love him.
amazing.
So Squeezer, in my opinion.
Squeezer.
Yeah, Squeezer. He's just every time he goes up on chicken, he's just like he's got this twinkle in his eye,
Right?
Yep.
and his
Like, and as an autistic person who definitely has preferred favorites, I absolutely see that. Like, he's just like, can I have chicken? What kind of chicken you got? I just want chicken.
surely they could put a chicken on a panini, right?
Right. There's got to be a chicken panini.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Make some
Pretty sure I've had
popcorn
one.
chicken and put it in a panini, please. JJ.
JJ, I'd have to drop the mitts with. It's like,
Yeah?
come on, man, you got to wake up for a period or two or do something, and
Right.
you got to wake up. Like you got to
Yeah.
hit him in the face to get him to wake up after those first two periods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking healthy scratch because he did kind of make it up in the third period, but
Yeah.
like he just seemed like from the beginning really he seemed a little checked out, but like
Yeah.
in this episode he was just completely like, well, what?
So are you scratch or mitts?
I'm
for him?
gonna say scratch. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going scratch as well with that one. Because he scored 2 goals at the end. I got to give that
Yeah.
to him. But yeah, it's just Anyway,
I totally agree with you though.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So awesome. That's damn right for Phytophile. So yeah. Anywho's, let's get back to who's next, and that is
Big D.
Dolo.
Tolo deserves a squeezer.
Hell yeah, he
Squeezer.
does.
He just delivers.
Imagine the rope on that fella.
Dude, get gayer.
Good answer, actually.
All right, and then our boy Hitch. Hitch. I'll give him a squeezer personally.
Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
can get
Maybe
it.
not
Just,
personally for me, but I'll allow you to give him one personally.
Okay, for you. I've got your squeezer proxy.
You got my squeezer.
he
I
comes
got
off as like
arthritis,
he comes off as assistant captain, Shoresy's VP.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like Shoresy's giving speeches like, you gotta get him out, them boys. It just that there's always the one guy in the locker room.
Yep. Take it right to him, boys. And then I'm pretty sure I know where we all on the gyms.
Squeeze.
Squeeze. Gyms are
Squeeze the
beauties.
gym.
Squeeze him.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I know where we are on Tendy.
Mitts. Drop him.
Yeah.
Drop
Yeah.
him.
Drop
Yeah.
mitts.
Yeah.
Fish.
Ooh. He's kind of in between. I think I got to scratch him.
Same.
Yeah,
That's
same.
yeah. Because he's like on that fence of like, oh god, I fucking
Right.
hate this guy, but like I don't want to. He does still want to
And
win.
plus,
like
he does pull some incredible ass.
He does.
Apparently.
Yeah. Samantha
Does.
McMeekin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, healthy scratch.
Respect is burning. Burning. I thought it
Oh,
was
right.
probably some. I thought it was some Christian camp or something like that. But it's an actual. It's a bar and grill place in Sudbury. So I had to look that up. I'm like, what is that like a fire festival type of thing?
Yeah. That's kind of in my head. It's like Canada's Woodstock.
Yeah. Nat.
Now we're getting into the personal here, Squeezer.
Yeah. Well,
Now,
she's.
if it's the females, do we still call it Squeezer?
I know
Well-
we talked about that before. Like we couldn't quite figure out a different way, but yeah, we'll say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the
equivalent is to
Yeah.
because technically we don't know anyone's anatomy.
Right. True.
So, other
Except for
than-
Michael's.
and Sanguinet because
Yeah.
we know he got a squeezer.
Well, that and Shoresy's talked about him pulling out his wiener. So
Yeah.
so yeah, Nat. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, she sucked up her pride and went back to Michael's
Right.
and sat through that and took it. And yeah. Meeg. Meegwan. I adore Meegwan.
Squeezer.
Yeah.
Squeezer. She's so cute the way she pines over Sanguinet.
Yeah.
I do like the way that is kind of growing, because it's the first episode. It was kind of obvious that Sanguinet was like, I really don't want her to know about this. I don't want her to know about that. Like, right? Like he's like, I like her. I don't want her. And like now she's starting to see him as not, just another slut, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
He's,
It's amazing how feelings can change when you see someone in a different light.
Right.
Awesome says a finger bang.
I'm not a fan of that. So
A knuckle
I'm
knocker.
Say no.
A knuckle. How about a knuckle knocker?
Two knuckler.
Two knuckler. How many knuckles does Nat get?
As many as she wants.
Right.
There you go. So we're all for a squeezer for me. Zeeg.
Squeezer in this one because of the way she ran after Tendy, like tearing
she
his dumbass down.
She was not having it.
Hell
she was
no.
sticking up for her team.
Hell yeah.
I almost want to say scrap because it'd be fun. She's
A
feisty.
scrap that turns into a squeezer.
Legit.
Yeah.
Legit.
You start as a tickle fight and stuff happens.
Whoops, you got me a little,
And then all of a sudden I'm a real woman.
So, where are you on Zeeg then?
Yeah, I gotta do scrap just because it'd be fun.
Okay.
She's such a feisty character. Like you kind of have to scrap. Like you couldn't like that seems like a girl you wouldn't. That'd be like it's just passion. It's all passion, whether it's love or hate.
Three knucklers above is strictly recreational.
Yep. Nice.
Yep.
Yes, it definitely has to be more than one finger.
All right. Pam.
Which one is Pam?
The waitress.
Oh, right. Okay. I want to say Mitts. Like, I'm sure that she's been like fucked off by these hockey players for years and is just fucking tired of them. And now we get to see her in that point of view. But like to us as the viewers, she seems kind of hostile to her customers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go scratch.
Scratch. All right.
Yeah. There's nothing really there. Like she's a waitress. She's pissed off. Like cool.
Sure. Yeah. I kind of want to. I understand the mitts. I think I'm going to go scratch as well. Maybe at some point we'll see that turnaround. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm thinking her respect will grow as
Yeah, there's no small parts on Letterkenny or
Yeah.
Shoresy. I'm assuming just because someone's going to get their story later.
Yeah.
Laurence Leboeuf.
Squeezer. Oh my God, Squeezer. I don't know.
Well, I agree with that because she stands her big thing. She adores JJ.
Yeah.
And she's fighting for
She's the
JJ.
epitome of stand up for your man.
Yeah, she's a
In
ride or
especially
die.
in this episode.
Yes.
And she walks in and she owns the room.
Yes.
Totally.
So like with a woman with that kind of power, Squeezer.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I don't disagree.
Agreed.
All right. Finally, our boy Michaels. I can't say Squeezer. He's got to, for me, it's got to be a scratch just because he's so fucking pathetic.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to fight him. I definitely don't think he deserves any kind of but
I mean, he's brought all this trouble onto himself.
right.
He needs to sort of shit out.
See, that's the reason I kind of want to fight him. Tough love.
Do it.
Like he's a goalie. He's like, come on, man. Like you knew what you're getting into, and you've gone too far. There's a certain point where you just got to say like, hey, I've been screwed over by some girls in the past, but there's always been a limit. Like, all right,
Right.
always leave yourself some outs.
Yeah, it's and it's always. It's give and take in a relationship, and you gotta. I mean, there's also boundaries. So if you don't set your boundaries and you just keep giving and giving and giving, you're gonna find out what's gonna happen. I mean,
And sometimes you need a come to Jesus meeting.
Yeah.
To like pull yourself out of a hole.
And hopefully that's what this was for him.
Yeah.
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 So we're seeing the impetus of something new, with this.
Yes.
And so it's kind of cool, exciting to look at that. So yeah, so that's a lot of squeezers coming out this episode, boys. So
We're just horny people.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But also it's a good episode, boys.
It's a fantastic episode. Yeah. So final thoughts on the episode? Just to sum up what you think of this episode.
This was my favorite episode of the season, so I was really glad you picked me to do this one. I was like, because this is the first chance you really get, besides Shoresy telling all the high school kids off being a rep, because I've wanted to do that when I was repping.
Yeah.
But like this, you really get your first set of hockey action. You first really you start to see them come together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
You start to see the change in Shoresy, that he really works for what he cares about, and it's this hockey team. Like he brings in these guys, he's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. He gives the tough love. Like Sanguinet opens up, is vulnerable to him, and he delivers. He's like, hey, I'm there for you. You see Sanguinet start to step up in the meeting, like, all right, it's my team now.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of got rid of some dead weight. Like now with Michael's coming back, you kind of have your team set.
Yeah.
And so this is pretty much, this whole season was just one episode, now you've kind of reached your climax.
Yeah.
Like the stakes are set, you know it's possible. You've got all the characters, you see what they can do now. And it's just the chirping throughout the game, the face washing, and just everything, the locker room talk. Like there's not a bad thing I don't like about this episode.
Yeah. It's a fantastic episode.
And that might include Michael's dick hanging out. Because honestly, it's actually kind of refreshing to see something for the female gaze as well. That it's not
all
just
the women
like,
are looking
dicks
for
are
that.
pretty, so
true, but like it's not just like hits out all the time and you're like, oh, it's just like whatever. It's like, oh,
good. We can objectify the men
And
too.
that's one.
Work pieces of meat as well.
That's one thing that's been consistent with Kiso is if you see any nudity, it's on the guy's side. So Shoresy's ass, all the hockey players' asses.
Yep.
And now Michael's dick.
And the only real cleavage you see is Bonnie McMurray, and then everyone gets
Bonnie McMurray.
Right.
Connie McMurphy.
Like even the over-sexualized Mrs. McMurray does not really have she doesn't wear a push-up bra or anything like that.
Yeah.
So like you don't get the visual titillation, and we tit. And we only had one episode where someone was in lingerie, and like even when Katie's in a bikini all the time, like I mean I know that she's a lot of people's type because she's like super skinny and all of that, but being super skinny, she doesn't have what is considered to be how am I trying to say this? Like bigger women get in trouble for having too much boob, basically. She doesn't have that any kind of issue with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we see her in a bikini all the time for that reason, not because like she has a nice body and shares it off. And someone else comes up in a bikini with their boobs out, people are like, oh, a little more. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's all right. So yeah, I echo a lot of what you guys are saying. It was a fantastic episode, and I think I watched it a number of times instead of just prep for the show, just out of pleasure, because it's so fun to watch. Mm-hmm. And the more you watch it, looking at the expressions between the players, and this is kind of where I really noticed the difference. I mean, because yes, Goody looks stoned, Dolo looks stoned. One of them, Goody, indica strain hardcore. Dolo is way up sativa.
Yeah,
he is
like
on.
Goody wants to eat, Dolo wants to fight. Like it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. And JJ just looks like he's not like the wheel's turning, but the hamster's dead.
He is. Yeah, he's on. I don't know, Molly.
No.
What he's on.
Yeah, and that just seems like his character. Like he's gonna be there. Like he's gonna have a woman leading him in life.
Yeah,
and he's just gonna be too stupid to be faithful to the one good one. I guess.
He just
So,
I think he just kind of picks up whatever is handed to him.
Yeah,
it's kind of what it is. I think he doesn't know how to say no.
Yeah.
Probably. But anyway, that's for a fuature episode. Final thoughts
That
on
was
everything.
it. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So, let's go ahead and next week will be episode 4 of this season 1 of Shoresy. If you can't win, don't play, and our guest will be our good old buddy Rene Encarnacion, our resident joint boy.
If you have not checked out our live table read of Fuss in the Back Bush, It's out on YouTube now, right?
Yep.
Yep.
It will be on. If you're on YouTube right now, watching us, that's where you'll see it.
Yeah. And our next one is going to be original fiction.
Yes, written by David Mack, who
Written by David Mack.
also writes novels and screenplays for Star Trek.
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
wrote a spec script for Letterkenny, and we are going to perform it.
It's going to be awesome. I
Yeah.
can't wait. Yeah, going to be a fun one next week. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and we hope to see you again next week. Chris, hang out for a bit, and we'll do a little follow up. So see. Oh, we have one final comment from Phytophile regarding the sluts. They are some great interviews with real hockey player actors on the actual TSN YouTube channel.
Nice. I'll definitely check that out.
And our most recent episode that we just did on the table read was A Fuss at the Golf Course. Thank you. Awesome. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Take care now.
Bye.
Thanks so much for putting your bums in our seats today. We really appreciate it. We're so grateful to our longtime Letterkenny fans for being with us this far, and we're also very grateful for any new folks who've chosen to join us. If you have any questions or comments, please send us an email to hosts@howareyounowpod.com or howareyounowpod@gmail.com. You can also reach out to us on Twitter @howareyounowpod. We'd love to hear from you. We want to give a big shout out to our pals over at Light the Lamp for providing our intro and outro music for the show. The intro tune is For the Win, and the outro tune is Miracle. You can find Light the Lamp on Bandcamp, Twitter, and Instagram. Please go check them out. Their links will be in our show notes. And, as we like to say,
Shut the fuck up, Sanguinet.